Hello there, this is Reliant Union 72, and I'm starting to make a video file of D&D stories. I'm a new recent DM, and I've been playing with a few friends from school, and I'm starting to catalog the new stories. Brought to you by Peace Tea, my favorite drink ever. So yeah, I'm gonna start telling those stories. The first one, I had it was like an all-night nerd night that we had. It was me DMing. We had a Dragonborn cleric, a Wilden monk, a shifter ranger. It's kind of odd to say. A dinky dwarf warlord, and what was he? A tiefling warlock. Now, later in the story, they're gonna have a few good blunders for their first game, because we were just making character sheets like that right before we played, and we just kind of threw ourselves into it. And I was just kind of making up a story as we went along. But, and we're playing 4.0, so we had a few new different things. But, as our story starts, we're in the land of Azaragon. Came off the top of my head when I made it up. We're in the land of Azaragon, in the town of Iamanon, and I just tell them that they're walking down, just came to the town recently, and I'm telling them the basic description. It's just it's a moderately sized town. Stone work on the streets. The buildings look a little worn. They haven't been refurbished. They're wooden, but with cobblestone edges. There's different signs of inns and taverns, of different walks of life, different races and people. It's just a good mix. Walking about, spying, trading. Your regular, basic, low-level city. As they're walking about, they're just noticing not really too many people heavily armed besides the guards. And they're walking about, and one of the guards looks at them oddly, and just says, "Oh, adventurers?" And they're just like, "Oh, is that odd at all?" "Oh yes, all the other adventurers are off fighting the dragon." Not pulling a Skyrim reference at all. It's like, "Lord Sheogorath would like to see you." And pulling an Oblivion reference. I'm really original. But, they're like, "Oh, okay. We'll go up there." So they go up there, and they walk in. As soon as they hear rambling of this man, it's like, "Where is my toast? Where doth my toast?" Just like different ramblings. And, like, he walks in, like, they all walk in, they're like, "Hello?" And he looks over at him away from the stern and is like, "Oh, adventurers! Huzzah!" It's like, I've sent off all my other adventurers off into the dragon's den to slay him. To no avail so far, but I'm kinda gonna need more adventurers to help out in town. It's like, oh, what do you need help with, oh sire, oh king Sheogorath?" We had a leader. I think it was the Wilden monk that was our leader, and he was asking most of the questions. It's like, "Oh, a few of the fair maidens of Emianon, or whatever, have been abducted recently, and I need you and your party to help and solve this mystery." "What's in it for us?" "Gold! Gold!" It's like, "About, and he pulls up like a small little chart. 150 per. They're pretty important people, but I'm not gonna overspend." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, we'll go help." What was the last things that you had heard from these people?" Like, "Well, commonly, the eyewitnesses would hear a blood-shattering scream in an alleyway and go investigate. Last thing they'd see is a portal and a red tail as they walk off into the portal, and the portal would close." mysteriously. Woo! And the party goes off with their new task. It was pretty. I give them a pretty easy thing to do. They go off. They go investigate, and our tiefling warlock rolls a pretty good Arcana check and checks out the surface of the wall, and he recognizes it as a transportation portal, and it can't be too far for the exit portal. So they just learn a little about it, and they just go down to the docks, and as they're walking, someone rolls a random history check. I'm like, okay, what are you rolling a history check for? Oh, on the town. I was like, well, gotta BS this in a few seconds. Well, Iamanon was a original coal mining town on the coast, dug into the mountain, and as it had been going on, they just basic coal mining, and the strangest thing, archaeologists started popping up to research the new land that had been conquered, and as it went on, they've been finding a lot of Egyptian ruins around the town. And I just gave them a little about that. But the town was really good. It had good commerce, but once it ran out of coal in the mines, it started going down. And as it went down, as it got larger and the economy went down, it turned into more of a slums trading town. While Sheogorath was still a good king, trying to revamp the town to no avail so far. And they're like, oh that's kind of cool. It's different. So they're checking out the seaport, and they do notice that there are a few ships without sails, without markings. And they go check around. It's like, what is the race of the people on this ship? Oh, there's a few elves, looking a little more rugged, some humans. There's one hefty dwarf with them carrying crates and stuff. And they're like, they don't really seem like they're here for long. So they're like, oh, okay, nothing really much. But then our dinky dwarf runs up and no, it was our dragonborn. That's grabs the ship captain, what he assumed ship captain. It's like, where is she? Where is she? He's like, what? The people have been being abducted. Where is she? Where is she? And Dragonborn's get a higher intimidate check, so he intimidates him. And is like, well, we've heard of some reports, but nothing much. We haven't been here long enough. Where could we find these people? It's so unrelated, but I'm going with it. Well, there's a small sewage canal on the far north end of the town, by the wall. Something could be going on there. And he throws him. No. He didn't throw him. He held on to him the entire way over there, walking all the way to the other end of the town. And it was just really odd. I was like, okay. People look at you oddly. Some guards are questioning, but don't really delve into your matters. They go over there, and they look around the corner, and they notice people loading crates onto little boats going out of this little sewage canal. And they're like, okay, we're about to get ready to fight them. It's like, well, okay. Any perception checks beyond that? It's like, well, our shifter ranger, he has ridiculous acrobatics. So he rolls his acrobatic check, to climb up the wall, they're beside the edge of a building, and he climbs up the wall, and he gets up to the top. He's like, I'm getting ready. Then our dinky dwarf is like, I'll climb up there too. -1 acrobatics. It's like, oh, go, roll it. Rolls like a 4. It's like, you attempt to climb, you grab the one loose brick and you fall on the ground, making a large clatter with your armor. these gentlemen, turn around and look at your party. Peace tea. And they're like, oh, is there anything you need, gentlemen? I was like, they're like ready with their weapons, just like, what? And they start putting their weapons away a little. Oh, what are you doing here? Well, we're loading supplies for the war. It's like, what? War? War? What? What? Yes, we're loading illegal drugs, more or less, that we acquired from the many different what was I trying to say? The many different vendors of like different land sailors. God, and they're much easier price and easy to acquire, and we're using for a good use for the war, for the many different injured soldiers. And they're like, oh, have you heard anything about missing maidens? Like, no. And so they just walk off. Our ranger's like running from rooftop to rooftop, like a ninja, and like I make him roll acrobatics checks. I was like, hardcore parkour. Just going about. It was kind of cool, but then our leader, finds a map of the town, posts it on a wall. It was a little tattered, and they start marking out oh, it was here, 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 and here. And notice a little pattern. There's only 2 alleyways left. 2 main alleyways where they could be if following the pattern of the map. So, the rest of the party goes over to those 2 alleyways while our leader, our Wilden monk, goes up to Sheogorath, runs to the other side of town, goes to Sheogorath, rolls a diplomacy check, gets a 20, asking for females that would resemble the princess of high value. And it's like, oh, you have convinced me, this may work. Here's the princess and a fake princess. And it's like, oh, that's well. And he walks off with them. And I make it so the real princess, actually there's no air quotes, just the real princess, is really more bitter and kind of mean, filing her nails and gawking at everything, while the fake princess is always kind of nice, kind of like the maiden, who is it like Cinderella and the evil stepsisters, kind of like that. And they're going on, and they go to the alleyways, and they just set up a trap. Now, on the real princess, they have our dwarven defender. No, our dwarven warlord. He's looking out of the alleyway, he's at the edge of the alleyway, looking outward, just with his weapon. Our Wilden monk is hanging out, by a wall. He rolls a 15 on his sneak check. I'm like, you're hidden unless someone is looking for you, then you're not hidden. It's he's just hiding on the wall, like this. And up top, between the 2 alleyways, is our shifter ranger. And he's just hanging out, looking at both sides. By the way, the princesses are sitting in chairs, just kind of hanging out. The good one's reading a book, while the other one's just filing nails, just making fun of the adventurers after everything they do. Then we have who's left? Our cleric and our warlock are defending the fake princess, just kind of hanging out in the alleyway watching her. And it gets around 12, and I'm like, roll an endurance check. And what? Why? Well, you've been running around town. I haven't eaten yet, and it's kind of cold out, and it's getting late. So they roll endurance checks. Most of everyone gets it really well, except for our shifter ranger. So he gets a -3 to all checks now. And he's kind of dazed, kind of half passed out. but he's like still conscious, looking around. And our Wilden monk, I'm like, you're getting shot by an arrow. What? From where? Well, they also rolled perception checks and didn't notice anything on that side. So it's like, you're getting shot by an arrow. It's like, okay, what's your armor class? I roll, get like a 18. It's like, you're hit. Roll, I think it was like a will save, I don't remember. Like, what's against poison? It's like, roll a will save. It's like, why? You're being paralyzed. It's like, oh. Fails his will save or whatever. And he gets collapsed to the ground. Our shifter ranger is looking at the other side on the fake princess's side when this all happens. Our dinky dwarf rolls a terrible perception check. I'm just like, butterfly, and doesn't notice what's going on. 2 portals open simultaneously behind the princesses on the walls. Shadowy figures with red tails run out and grab them and almost make it all the way back to the portal, but that's where their turn ends, and that's on initiative. The battle ensues. Our shifter ranger, I think he got like the highest, except for my guys. He hardcore parkours down, lands beside them. I think he made it farther into the portal. The one grabs the. No, he doesn't grab him. He shoots his arrow into the portal, and it's a moderately high number. Gets past his armor, and you hear screaming and yelling of, "I'm hit! Dabby!" Like, the princess's body stops moving through the portal. So he stopped the fake princess's side, not knowing what's happening to the real princess right now. Then it goes to like our dwarven warlord. Terrible perception. It's like, another butterfly, and just still doesn't know what's going on. Our Wilden monk goes for a save again, fails. Like, you're foaming at the mouth, but you notice, with a perception check, a little symbol on the cloak. I draw it out for him, and such. And, they're going on. Then it goes to our cleric. He dashes up with, like, all his dragonbornness, grabs the leg of the princess. I was like, you reach in and grab a thigh. You hear a small yelp, but you have the thigh. I think it was like a strength check or something, or athletics. And it starts pulling on the princess. There's still resistance on the other side. Then it is our warlock. He runs up and is like, haha! I'm gonna use my wand of fire. He had like a dinky little wand. And they're like, no, Jared, no. I mean, tiefling, whatever. It's like, no, don't do that. Bad idea. And I kind of didn't like that because they're like, you can't really tell him what to do and not to do, but then it's like, I'll sheath that and go to reach for the leg of the princess. Then it goes back to the tiefling's turn. Well, I'll just tell you it's the tieflings. Because they're about to find that out. And the real princess is pulled all the way in, the portal closes. So she's gone. Ooh. And for the other one, he starts pulling. That's pretty much about it. He starts pulling them in. Then it's our shifter ranger. He jumps it through the portal, and he ends up inside of a room. It's like it's a moderately sized room with a stairwell and a door over by the stairwell. It's like, he walks in, and terrible perception check because he was a little dazed still. Like, he just noticed, like, sees blood pull and an arrow around on a guy, pinned to the wall. And he sees 2 other shapes of people, but can't really exactly tell. Then, yeah, it was our dwarven defender. Butterfly! Again. Like, he rolls a terrible perception. And our Wilden monk still fails his will save and starts passing out even more from the paralyzed. I think it's next turn he gets out. But then our cleric, goes to pass it off to our warlock, like passes off the thigh, and like lets go. And on our reflex, our warlock barely grabs some skin, pinching it, and she starts yelping and cursing at the adventurers. Derp. And he jumps into the portal and attacks the guy on the ground with his, like, I think it had like a lightning breath weapon. Like, it attacks him, does some damage. It doesn't kill him. Then, since he can't really hold on, our warlock lets go, jumps in, and uses his wand. No, daily spell, or daily power, and it was like, it's some type of fire, and he misses, but how I do my statistics is, you're gonna use this spell, it's gonna do something. I don't care if it misses him, it's doing something. So, on a miss, it hits the building, and it starts setting ablaze the basic cloth and wood pieces in the building. And it's an old, started rotting out wooden building. So it's gonna catch. Then there's the other figures in the room. There's an archer that shoots, that goes to shoot Jared, our tiefling. Jesus. On a miss, but I saw the statistic, like, I think it's like on a 5 out of 100. And it's gonna hit someone now, because I got like a 3. And it goes to hit our shifter ranger, and paralyzes him, like he goes on the ground, in a burning building. Then the guy on the ground, the tiefling on the ground, throws the princess at the other guy that was on the stairwell. He grabs her and starts running out the door. Now, he's gone, and Dinky Dinky Dwarf rolls like a 13, and finally it's like, you put your penis away and go to help out your, help realize what just happened. You put it away, and you turn around and go to help out your friend. And I was like, you get a bonus to, like, you start shaking, our wielded monk, and you start waking him up, helping him. And, like, I think it's like a +2 for his will save now or whatever. It was just, I was giving bonuses and minuses just for how I felt. How it would kind of work. It was his turn. He kind of starts coming back. It's like, oh. I was like, you can't move, but you can do a perception check. He gets a pretty high number and sees the smoke billowing off where a building is. And they just laugh because they're like, oh, that's our tiefling. And they start running around, like going around to the building. I think that takes like 2 whole turns of movement. He goes out. John, not him. Our shifter ranger goes to wake up. He wakes back up. He staggers and goes to shoot an arrow at the other guy. Like, the guy just shot him with an arrow. He hits him, but not terribly. I think it's like a 2 damage, and it's like, I'm hit. Our cleric, with his morning star, goes around to the guy that's still pinned to the wall, swings on a critical, hits him, max damage. I'm like, your morning star impales where his head was, envelops the inside of his head. Like, where there was a head, there's still the edge of the head, but the morning star is inside where the head is, and you encave his head. The morning star is now stuck in the wall. He's like, that was badass, but now this kind of sucks. I'm stuck. Our warlock starts moving towards the door. The portal closes by this time. Starts moving towards the door. And our archer, the tiefling archer, goes to run out the door. Turns proceed to go on. our Wilden monk moves faster than our heavy dwarf, so he's the first one to make it out, and sees the fake princess being held by this guy, and I think he had a sling, and he's like, I gotta start shooting at him, and like, he's moderately close, but not close, so he starts getting his sling going, gets an 18, and I was like, you hit him, and gives him, the fake princess ample opportunity to break free, and like, he trips, the princess trips him, and they fall on the ground. So now they're prone. The archer comes out, and our dinky dinky dwarf comes up, and throws a javelin at the archer, and like, I think it like skins him, but does some damage. It's his turn. Now, our shifter ranger comes out, bow drawn, shoots the arrow, and I didn't think of this at the time. He goes to hit the archer, and I'm like, you hit him. I'm just thinking of an area. I was like, you hit him in the back of the leg, like right where at the joint of the leg. Like, oh, that kind of hurts. And then our Dragonborn's like, ha, he took an arrow to the knee. I was like, oh yeah, he did, didn't he? Tasty. So, it goes on, and I think, yeah, our cleric is the only one still in the building, and he's trying to budge it out. He finally rips it out of the wall with part of the wall still attached to it. Where the door was, it collapses with fire. So he goes upstairs, and it's like there's no windows, but there's a wall where everyone else is at. Like the room. I explained the room. And he's like, oh, I'll bash through the wall and make it over to where the rest of my party is. I'm like, okay. Give me a strength check. Well, it was a DC plus his strength. So, he runs at it. I think it's like a 9. It was like barely enough. But I was like, the wall's rotting anyways. You bash through, but taking some damage. I roll a D4. It takes like 2. He was fine. Then, makes it down, and that was his entire move, and he had to brace himself with his acrobatics as well. And I can't remember who, but it was, oh yeah, it was our Wilden monk that comes up, shanks this guy, the archer, that has the arrow in the back of the leg, and took the javelin, stabs him, and twists on a critical, and like, he cripples down and starts bleeding to death. And the guy that's on the princess, kind of rolls out. Finally, our tiefling warlock comes out, crossbow ready. It's like, I shoot the guy on the ground. Ba-dink! It was on a less of a miss. Like, it barely would have hit, but it was like one less. So I'm like, let's see who this can hit. It's like, it's a really high number for the ground, but no, it has to hit someone. Like, princess is like on a, like, it goes to hit, so I have like everyone priced into a percentage. Hits the princess. Hits, and everyone that's like basic clothing, there's no armor penalties, but like, they have 8 health. And he rolls max damage for 8 health. And like a 10 does 8 damage. It's like, you killed the princess. And by this time, there's a crowd of people gathering, like, at a distance. And you just shot the princess. Good job. Like, she's dead, per se. Like, she's on the ground, very unconscious, clinging to life. And the other tiefling runs off into the crowd of people and disappears from sight. So, our Wilden monk, looking like the hero, like the Wilden monk, the dwarf, and our shifter ranger all look like heroes by comparison in the party. And then our cleric, heals her, and she's like, a light aura goes over her. Her clothes are cleaner. Her wound is unstained, and she breathes. The crowd is a little better now. They're more content. And our golden monk does a diplomacy and tells people, "Oh, it's fine. We have saved the princess on a bluff. And she is fine." Our warlock goes to hide in the shadows so he doesn't get mobbed to death. They start going off, and I think this is around like 4 a.m.-ish. It's like 4 or 3 a.m. about now. And as I had said, we started at 8 o'clock p.m. and ended at 8 o'clock a.m. So we played a 12-hour game. And they go off into an inn around in the area. They get a free room. They loot the bodies, by the way. They get a free room, and our shifter ranger got like a ring off the archer, and he goes to sell it to this guy. It's like, he's a big, black, burly guy. I think I made him like 6'7", and he's black. He's big, and like he has like a mug, and it's like washing it, like cleaning out with a rag, like looking at it. It's like, let's sell you this ring. It's like, I looked at the chart for like a ring or some gold. He's like, he's holding the ring. 27 gold pieces, because it was a really fine, nice ring with some insignias, and I think it had like a small gemstone in it. He's like, 27. And it's like, that's a little low. And everyone else is like nagging him. It's like, come on, just get it. That's actually a little higher than you should get for it. Like, no. I'm getting my gold. And like, on a intimidate, he's like, I'm getting 40 for this, and gets a moderately high number. And like, I stand up from the table and being like, it was like, bring my shoulders back, like, fine. And it's like, smashes the money down on the table and takes it from him. It's like, and shoves it in his pocket. You don't want to be around me now. They go to sleep. Except for our tiefling warlock, who starts researching the symbol that's on the cloak that he got from the other guy. And he still gets a pretty good night's sleep. But he researched it for the night, and tells everyone in the morning, like they're at the table, and he starts telling them of what the symbol is, and he says it resembles of the early days of Emunon, when the archaeologists were commonly tiefling, researching this area, and it is now of a cult. So it's kind of cool. So our cleric and our warlock, are going to go off to the library and research it, while everyone else goes to the slums to go check out if there's tieflings for this cult. So, they drop them off. They drop them off at the library, and they go off. And they find this book of a noble who did like a research project on the town, and was like talking about the different buildings, what they used to be in the slum area, like in a different chapter. And it was like, of the main old museum of species, and of the town of Emunon. There's been a lot more tieflings and different such higher activity, as if they owned the area, when I had gone there to research different amulets and artwork. And everyone else that was like going to the slums was like, oh, wait, that's where we're going. Like, cause they got there and it's like, you notice a museum of species, and it looks like there's tiefling activity. And like, wait a second, that kind of lines up. And they walk around in the museum, and they're doing different research, and like they're doing research, and they notice tieflings in the Sphinx area. Okay. And in the library, back with them, he notices an amulet that's in like a case, and our tiefling warlock took deep speech for some reason. I was like, why? But when he took it, you start hearing a voice when you get close to this amulet. A female voice. That says only through the Sphinx's, like through the sight of the Sphinx will you find your, past, like your past to, your, like, it was something, but it was like to pass through your, trial or whatever. And it was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And you get close to it, and it's like the Queen Izolia, of the ancient Egyptian realm of Emionon. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And when the other guys go into the Sphinx area, they notice this ancient portrait, or it was like on a tablet, of this woman with Egyptian clothing, but with like this amulet, and the Sphinx. There's tieflings going about. That's like on one of the side walls, but in the main wall, there's like this larger tablet with a Sphinx protruding out from it. And they're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Not really taking much view of it. And they see the symbol on the tieflings, not really getting ready for a fight, and they just leave. They regroup on the marketplace, because that's what they said earlier. They regroup at the marketplace, buy some stuff, sell from the night before. And, like, what are we going to do now? And they're like, well, our tiefling warlock mentions of this amulet, like, oh, we saw something that resembles that. Let's go there. And we go there, and they plan on stealing this necklace, amulet. And so he tells our wooden monk to do like a little trick. And I was just like random DC check, no bonus, just kind of, he did acrobatics for like some stuff, and gets the scholar's eyes to look at them, and he steals this amulet. It's like holding it, it's like, I put it on. I was like, well, you zone out from reality. I just dropped something, I don't know where that just went. Oh, there it is. But, you zone out from reality. Drinking peace tea. You zone out from reality, and you look around, and it's this dark void, but you see this woman in Egyptian clothing, sitting in a chair petting a sphinx. He's like, where am I? You're in the amulet. And like in a deeper kind of hushed, echoing voice. It's like, what happened? You put on the amulet, and I assumed you wanted to contact me. It's like, well, yes. Where? And like, she looks at him. It's like, oh, you ran into the cult, haven't you? And it's like, he thinks, I was like, yes, we have. Yes. So, she sends the Sphinx over, and looks into him, and sends like a telepathy mental image of like, a man putting his fingers into the Sphinx's eyes, like in the tablet area, and this, tomb area opening up, and tieflings walking in. So, it's like, these tieflings have been pestering me for the past millennia. I don't see how they haven't found me yet in this, like, place of knowledge. And our dwarf is trying to metagame, knowing I'm telling him this. He's like, well, I see John. I see our shifter ranger zoning out, not saying anything. He's like, well, I'm gonna tell everyone else that like he put on the amulet and something happened. I was like, how do you know? That's metagaming, sir. And like he rolls a perception check. And it's kind of low. I was like, you believe he is just being his regular self, being his dog because he's kind of drooling. It's like you think he's regular himself, just not listening to you. And that's like a little joke from us, but he zones back out. He zones back in. It's like takes the amulet off. It's like, oh. They put it back because he's pretty good. In his alignment. And they're like, we need to go back there. And they go there like around, I think it was like around like 11 at night. And they're coming around the corner and they're listening. And they're talking about the ritual being completed at the strike of the moon being at its highest, which is 12. And so a small battle ensues. There's like 3 guys guarding the main entrance, which is the tablet of the Sphinx that opened up. There's like the tank. My battery is dying. Got a scrubbly look. My battery is dying, but yeah, the battle ensues. Our monk jabs his spear in the side of the heavy guy. Our tiefling warlock went down. Okay, no, my battery's fine. Oh no, it's not fine. Why is it doing that? Okay, I'm gonna try to make this a little shorter, but battle ensues. They take some heavy damage and they go down the hall and they open the door to this larger chamber, and there is they see the 4 maidens on different pedestals and the princess on the pedestal beside this guy. It's a tiefling. His name's Lidar. I BS that name from being him the leader. I said that and like, oh, so this enemy Lidar. I meant to say leader, but I said it oddly. So it's like, oh, we're fighting Lidar. It's like, sure, why not? And he's a high level magician, but like with defensive spells. But they're doing different stuff, and our shifter ranger shoots like halfway across this large area, and the smallest chance hits him, and like right before this aura is going into this the princess, it stops right before it can be finished, and she floats back down to her pedestal, and like she had black veins going off of her eyes that recede, and she's just kind of passed out. But they end up killing Lidar and his other lackeys. They save the day, huzzah! But with a poor job, you get like 75 gold per maiden and the princess that were returned. And Sheogorath is a little pissed, but that was Into the Blaze, is what I called that little adventure. Peace tea. That was Into the Blaze, and they get some gold, and they have a little infamy from this adventure from saving the princess. So they're a little known around town, and that's when it was like 8 a.m. in the morning, and we're just like, we need to get away from this table, put down the sheets. I give out XP and some gold, all their different stuff they sell, and that's when they stop. And that was our 12-hour session, and they enjoyed it for their first game. They really enjoyed it. I didn't really have any battle maps. We had like a little grid piece of paper and just like had dots. Like, oh, you're kind of here. And that's how we did it. So, it was pretty fun. Well, I'm always your host, and I will be adding more videos. This will be uploaded soon, hopefully. Cool, cheesy smile, and I'm shutting this off.